Hey everybody, Rich coming to you here at Leaving MAGA at leavingmaga.org. It is time for another edition of Ask Me Anything. We've received so many questions and comments. Really appreciate all the response that we did receive. Let's get right into it with some questions here. First question, do you believe MAGA folks are really liking everything coming out of this administration? Do you think there are seeds of doubt? And is there anything we can do to feed those seeds? So I am confident some in MAGA are confused and questioning their beliefs. My recommendation is reach out to your MAGA friends and family. Let them know that you're there for them as a friendly ear if they ever want to talk about doubts that they're experiencing. And if they know you won't judge or ostracize, they are more likely to approach you. Please elaborate on the need to own the libs. So, a lot within the right wing is performative, outlandish, and absurd, but part of quote unquote owning the libs stems from a belief in MAGA that liberalism is one of, if not the primary source of all of our national ills. So, owning the libs is just an extension of the distrust that many in MAGA have in liberalism and liberal democracy. Do you think more people have left or joined MAGA? So I have good news for this answer. I think Trump knows that he is losing support among some in his base. Granted, like all of you, I wish that others were leaving more rapidly, but I see no evidence that MAGA is growing, and I believe that there are fewer and fewer who are supporting the president. And I'll give you guys a specific example that pertains to leaving MAGA. I know there are so many of these stories, but there was one recently in California where a husband and wife, they were stopped by Border Patrol, and they're claiming, I think accurately, that they were racially profiled being a Mexican couple. Well, that couple reached out to Leaving MAGA to say to us that they regret their vote for Trump. They voted for him in 2020. They voted for him in 2024, but they've got remorse because what has happened to them is not what they expected, and they are speaking out because they have said that what happened to them should happen to no American. So we've got people who are approaching us who are, in fact, doubting and questioning their support. And in some cases, like the couple who reached out to us, they are renouncing their support for Trump and MAGA. How do I ask my brother about his MAGA cult thinking? Our first piece of advice, please, we implore you, do not call MAGA a cult. Now, do I agree that there are some cult-like aspects to MAGA? Yes, I can attest to that, having been in that community for more than half a decade. And I understand why people who are not in MAGA would refer to it as a cult, but calling your brother a cultist is only going to harden his support for Trump and MAGA. What we recommend is try to understand why he believes what he believes. Doing so does not mean that you're compromising your morals, beliefs, and values. And if he's open to it, attempt to share articles with each other. Think of it like a bartering system for information. I'm willing to bet that his sources of information are rife with falsehoods. And I will say that in my journey and odyssey of leaving MAGA, even though it sounds very simple, it was life changing and altering for me when I started to diversify my news and information sources. So I think if there's a respectful and gentle challenge to your brother to try to diversify his news and information sources, then it opens up opportunities to talk about where he is consuming his information and the kinds of influencers and other MAGA media people he's listening to. What questions plant seeds? So, one question that comes to mind is, do you believe Donald Trump tells the truth all the time? Another question is to try to get to who that person was before Trump and MAGA came on the scene. What are their own values? Who were they before MAGA became something all-consuming in their lives? I said at the Democratic National Convention last year that Trump's toxic superpower is lying, and I think most in MAGA know that Trump is often dishonest. And I think it's okay to ask them if they feel betrayed, being lied to. And this could be construed as confrontational. So tone and approach matter here. You don't want to insult anyone's intelligence. you don't want to impugn anyone's integrity, but I do think many in MAGA, at the very least, have some suspicion that Trump is not always honest with them. And if he's not always honest with them about certain issues, it does warrant a question of, is there anything else that he might be lying to you about? How are we supposed to trust any ex-MAGA after we've seen how much they overlook? I think that this is a fair point in criticism, but I would ask you to remember those who left could no longer overlook the indefensible and unjustifiable. And if someone is willing to change and seeks genuine penitence, please consider offering that person grace. We have an ebook at our site at leavingmaga.org, and we also have a book for a guide for friends and family, which is called Reaching Out. That's a way to try to rejuvenate some of the relationships that you might have with your friends and family. But they may have been someone who said some abhorrent statements. Maybe they made them toward you, but all of the leaders at Leaving MAGA are proof that it is possible to change our minds and that it is possible to leave MAGA. Hey everyone, if you like this video, make sure you subscribe to our newsletter at leavingmaga.org. Make sure you're following us on our socials. We're on TikTok, we're on Instagram, we're at Threads, we're at Twitter, we're at Blue Sky, we're at YouTube. There's lots of places that you can find us at. We also received a lot of questions about my own origin story and what were some of the reasons that I left. In the very near future, we're going to be doing that. We're going to be doing an origin story video. We're also going to be doing these Ask Me Anythings more regularly. We get so many questions and comments. We really appreciate all of you who decided to take the time to write to us. And last but not least, I want to say that today is a very important date in my life. Today is what I call my Leaving MAGAversary. It was on August 30th, 2022, when I wrote a mea culpa. And in that mea culpa, I said that I was sorry for supporting Trump and MAGA, that I was wrong, and that I wanted to apologize to anyone I may have hurt with my words, deeds, and rhetoric. And the God's honest truth, everyone, is that after I wrote that apology, I never thought that anybody would care. But it turns out people did care. And for all of you out there who are supporting what we're doing, thank you so much for caring about our work. Again, make sure you're following us. As always, we really appreciate your support.